Hey everyone. Well, apparently one of the directors, one of the people behind the Sonic movie, I think his name's Jeff Fowler, came online recently, as of today I think, or yesterday, and reported that they, as well as those at Paramount and I think even Sega, those that support the movie at Sega, have heard the criticisms and are now in the process of redesigning Sonic's character. Now, I'm just going to say it straight out. I think, honestly, I was totally cool with the design. I thought it was okay. But obviously a lot of fans want something more closely accurate to the Sonic game design. And I don't blame anybody for that. And what it sounds like is some people are just more like, hey, if you could just shape the eyes to look more game-wise, or can you make them a little bit more like what we see in the games, or give them gloves. They basically, what they want is like some minor details, and that's what it sounds like is going to happen, is we're going to get some minor tweaks, minor details changed with Sonic. Before its November release. Now, speaking of that, a lot of people are curious about if they're going to have to reschedule the release date, and I don't think they're going to have to, because we're not talking about the act reshooting scenes or anything. What they're going to do is they're going to go back into the computer files and just redesign Sonic's character. All they have to do is just tweak a few things, basically, like in other words, all they have to do is just kind of retrace over the model. They have to just redesign the model a little bit, like kind of keep what they have, but kind of make it a little bit more like, okay, let's see, fans want this, okay, we could do that, we could do this. Something that I think is going to be a bit of a hybrid of what they want and what the fans want. And I know a lot of people worry that it's going to take time. It won't really take that much time, especially if the people are willing to work on it. Again, I don't think it's honestly going to be that bad. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I mean, let's take a look at, let's say, Dark Phoenix. That had to go through numerous reshoots and maybe some computer edits, computer animation edits and all that itself. And yeah, it got pushed back a little bit, but still, even into this recent year, even as this year began, there were reports of it having to go through, various reshoots and computer animation, redesigns and stuff. But yet, it's still going to make its summer release. So if it was still going through all that at the beginning, and it's still scheduled to make its summer release, I think Sonic's going to be okay, because you got to look at it this way. The trailer came out on the last day of April. That's the first trailer. We have from April 30th to May 30th, that's a month. June 30th is 2 months. July 30th is 3. August 30th is 4. September 30th is 5. October is 6. We have about 6.5 months. We have 6.5 months, if you will, till the movie is released. That is plenty of time, folks. And for those of you thinking it's going to get delayed even further, the only delay, I think, is it'll probably be pushed back to probably a week. That's what I look at. Maybe a week or so from its original release date. That's about it. That's about it. That's all you're going to probably get out of it, is it's going to get pushed back maybe a week and a half, and that's it. Nothing else. Because all we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, is redesigning the character. That's all you're looking at. And that'll probably be done quicker before you know it. It might even be done before the second trailer gets released. So we got to look at it that way. And that's what I think a lot of people online are even saying, that the redesign of the Sonic character is not going to take too long. They're just going to go by what they have right now, tweak it up a bit to where it's going to be, and what I feel is going to be a hybrid, like I said, of the original, of their design and what fans expect as far as the Sonic design is concerned. So in other words, they may still keep some of what they want, but they're going to tweak it to where it's, like I said, a hybrid. Like you might get gloves, you might get the shoes right, you might get the eyes a little bit bigger. I mean, there are fans online already that are kind of giving an example of, hey, look, if we can do this easily, it shouldn't be that hard. And that's what those same fans that are using their own software to kind of show exactly how easy it could be to change things up, that's what they're saying. They're saying, look, if we could do it just like that, these people shouldn't have too hard of a time redesigning it. I mean, think about it this way. There are 2D animated films and some 3D CGI animated films that have gone through something like this in the past. They've even, like I said about Dark Phoenix, have even had to have retweaks, re-edits, and all that, redesigns put onto the characters or certain areas of the movie months before, half a year before. And that's what we're looking at here. Basically, a half year before the movie comes out. So they got plenty of time. You know, plenty of time. There's going to probably be some people that are going to take some of this home with them and work on it at home if they have to, but they're going to have plenty of time to get this done. If for anybody that's worried that there's going to be a delay, or if the people behind the movie are crazy, look, they're addressing it now. Let me put it to you like this. When My Little Pony the movie's first trailer came out, when the 2017 My Little Pony, easy for me to say, excuse me. When the 2017 My Little Pony movie's first trailer came out, nobody was hip on the airship of the Storm King and Tempest Shadow. No one was hip on that because they thought it looked very PS1, PlayStation 1 graphic-wise. Because the design looks, paled in comparison to what we have seen in previous years. It basically that ship looks like it's PS1, PS2 design. It doesn't work. But guess what? The next trailer that came out, guess what happened? The next trailer and TV spots that came out, guess what happened? The ship was finalized. It was basically finished, complete. And guess what fans had to say? They turned around and they loved what they saw. They loved what they saw. And that's basically, and guess what? That trailer was released months, basically just like Sonic's, almost a half a year before the movie came out. So, for those that are worried about this happening with Sonic, yeah, his design is featured a lot in the movie, there's no doubt. But it's not going to take them long. Because all it is just tweaking the design they have right now. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So, Jeff Fowler, I think, coming out and saying that they hear people and that they're going to take care of this right away, right now, addressing it as we speak, it's a good move on their part. Yes, it's a good PR move so they don't look so bad, and they want the movie, and also from a business perspective, they do want the movie to be a success. And you know what? Here's the thing. Jeff Fowler and probably those behind the scenes expected this. They were probably expecting this backlash. Let's be honest, okay? Let's be flat out honest. You can't tell me that when they released the trailer as is, that they weren't expecting the backlash they got. The backlash they got, because they did. They were expecting it. And that's why almost immediately he came out with that statement. Like he was ready for that. He was prepared. A lot of people behind a movie like Sonic or something entirely else, if it's not what fans are expecting, especially if it's based on a very popular property or franchise, if it's not in the way that the fans expect, or even the people that are basically the parent company of said franchise, if it's not the way they expect, heck, if it's not the way they want, they're going to let the people that are adapting it for a feature film or an animated feature film, either live action or animated, or live action or animated series, they're going to let them know. But here's the thing about Hollywood. Here's the thing about studios that do that. They realize they realize, hey, our idea, this is what they probably think. They probably realize, yeah, our idea is good, but we're hearing all this backlash, let's see what happens. That's the mentality. The mentality is, let's see what happens, and if there is backlash, we're going to be ready for it. And that's what happened. He was prepared. He knew. He and his staff knew what was coming, and that's why when you think about it, that statement he made about saying, we hear you, we're going to take care of this, felt like it was so prepared, because it was. It was prepared, guys. It was completely prepared, and everybody knows it. Everyone knows it. Everybody listening to me right now knows it. Even Jeff Fowler, if he's watching this, he knows it. He knows that what he did was put out a prepared statement because he was ready. That's what studios do. Do you think with Warner Brothers releasing Detective Pikachu that they would be prepared for the backlash they may get if people didn't accept the designs of the Pokemon? Of course they'd be ready. Of course they were ready. Of course they had a statement ready to say, okay, we hear you, we're going to change things up, make it look more accurate. That's exactly what happened here. Jeff Fowler, I think that's his name, and those behind the movie realized what they did and realized what was probably going to happen, I should say, and knew that they had to be prepared, and that's what they did. Whether you like who's behind the movie or you don't, that's what directors and producers and screenwriters are known for. Being prepared, having a backup plan just in case. And that's exactly what happened. And again, when you think about it, this is not going to hurt the movie. It's not going to delay it the way people are thinking it's going to, because mainly all they have to do is use the base model they have of Sonic's design and tweak it to be what I feel is going to be a hybrid of what they want and what the fans want. So I don't think it's going to delay it that much. I think it's still going to hit its November release. Even if there is a delay, like I said earlier, it'll only be maybe by a week and a half, and that's it. That's about it. But again, going back to what I said earlier, the other reason they're doing this is because they want to make sure that this movie is a success. Here's the thing. They probably knew it was going to be a success even if they didn't want to redesign it. Because they knew fans would probably go see it just out of curiosity. Not just because they're fans of Jim Carrey and they want to see him go back to that style that they're used to seeing him in, but because of the fact that they would be curious as to exactly what kind of story they were going to get in the long run. And that to someone like the people, like Jeff Fowler and those behind the movie, that's all that mattered. The fact that whether or not they got backlash or they didn't, they knew fans were still going to go see it. And it's like I said in one video, I basically look at the fact that this Sonic the Hedgehog movie is going to be, and probably will be, a big sleeper hit. It'll, in other words, be a huge hit. It'll be a success. Now, does redesigning Sonic's character to be what I'm considering will be a hybrid of what they want design-wise and what people expect it to be? Will that help make it a success? Perhaps. Perhaps it will. But in the long run, it probably wouldn't have mattered either way. It wouldn't have mattered either way. They probably would have been like, look, even if we didn't have to do this, or even if we didn't have to come out and issue this prepared statement because of what we probably expected to happen backlash-wise and everything, they knew that fans were going to go see it anyway. They knew people were going to go see it anyway. Pat the NES punk, was going to go see it. Angry Joe Vargas, was going to go see it. He was going to take his friend Other Joe with him to go see it. You know, there's no doubt that Doug Walker, Channel Awesome, was going to go see it. Andre Medows, Black Nerd Comedy, was going to go see it. The list goes on and on of those that are well renowned in the YouTube and internet community that are planning to go see it and were probably going to go see it no matter what. And that is what the people behind the movie, like Jeff Fowler, were expecting. But, like I said earlier, when you read that statement, you cannot tell me that that was a statement they had prepared and on hold, to see if they were going to get any backlash or not. And guess what? They got the backlash, so they took the statement they had on hold or had on the ready, and they issued it out saying, hey, we hear you, here's what we're going to do. And that's what they did. That is what they did. Whether people want to admit that or they don't, that is exactly what happened. They were ready. They were ready for the backlash they got. And here's the thing, though. Let's look at the Sonic movie, for example. Let's take this whole redesign thing. I know I spent about 15 minutes on it. But let's look at how it's being presented. If you take the whole redesign thing and just look at the story element itself, what we're getting here, ladies and gentlemen, is an origin story. We are getting an origin story of not just Sonic, but also Robotnik and how their animosity, their rivalry, their disdain for each other began. And think about what could come of this if this becomes a huge hit or makes enough money back to where it's going to warrant sequels. Imagine what will happen. And I said it before. We will probably if it makes its money back and becomes a box office hit, not just domestically but globally, it's going to make the money. Not only is it going to make its money back, but it's going to basically by doing so, it's going to warrant a sequel. It's going to warrant a sequel, and when you think about that, that's probably what they have in mind, to do a whole Sonic universe. And it's like Angry Joe and a few others have talked about. They have a peripheral of material to choose from and to work with. They have a whole peripheral of material to work with. They do. They can go the game route, bring in Tails and Knuckles and Amy Rose in the second film if they want to. Or they can go in a direction fans are going to want them to go in, or hope they go in, and that's bring in the Freedom Fighters. I mean, think about it. You want to make Sonic, or this incarnation of Sonic, just a little different, a little bit more appealing, then yeah, you can bring in Tails, you can bring in Amy Rose if you want to, but guess what? Also bring in the Freedom Fighters. Imagine fans' reactions if at the end of this film, and Sonic's going back to his world, that we see a freaking cameo of Sally Acorn, or Bunny Rabbit, or Antoine. Imagine people's reaction if that was to happen. I mean, there's no doubt we'll probably see a cameo or an appearance by Tails and Knuckles and Amy, but imagine if they go in another direction. Imagine if they go in the direction of going with the appearance of Sally, Bunny, Antoine, Rotor, or at least Sally, for that matter. Imagine people's reaction seeing her on the big screen at the end of this movie as it comes to an end and maybe Sonic goes back to his world. Imagine fans' reactions, folks. That along with what we got at the end of this trailer with Jim Carrey in full Robotnik design, if you will, Eggman design. Imagine what they have planned for the future. And by giving us that thing at the end of the trailer, probably going to be at the end of the movie, imagine what we're going to be getting as far as future material is concerned. Movies are concerned. Imagine what is in the works if this movie makes back its money. And guess what? Like I said in that one video, I'm not going to be surprised if it does. Not just domestically, but globally, it's going to make its money back. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. That's going to set up a lot of us. That's going to set up a lot of us to expect more Sonic movies in the future. Imagine a sequel, like I said earlier, that has either the Freedom Fighters or finally integrates Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. Either way, it's a win-win combination, especially if the sequel, character design-wise, designs the characters more accurate to what fans expect them to be. I mean, the possibilities, guys, are endless. Now, like I said, will a redesign of Sonic, being a hybrid of what Paramount wants and what the fans expect and Sega expect, is that going to help? Probably. But either way, I think they know people are going to go and see it. We're going to see it anyhow. And by doing so, it's going to make its money back. They know that. I mean, one thing Andre Medows mentioned when he did his trailer reaction is he talked about the 2014 Ninja Turtles. People didn't like their designs, did they? No, they didn't. But guess what? They made enough money back. They made the money back to where the movie ended up getting a sequel. And a lot of people consider the sequel more of an improvement over the first one, but still, studios know that fans are going to go and see a movie like this, and by doing so, it's going to help them make that money back. They know it. And they know that when they make the money back, it's going to warrant them to make more movies in this genre, make more movies based on this franchise, and include more characters associated with it. Again, Angry Joe even basically said it. Look, you have a peripheral of material you could pull from, whether it's the cartoons, the comic books, the games themselves. They have a peripheral of material to pull from, not just ideas and concept-wise, but character-wise. And that's the truth. That is the truth. They have all this material, all these concepts they could pull from. They have all these opportunities, all these things they could pull from if they do a sequel or they do another series of movies if this movie is a success. And that's what they're counting on. So overall, when you look at the Sonic movie as a whole, I think everybody watching this video realizes that it's going to make its money back, domestically and globally. They know it's going to be a sleeper hit. They know it's going to be a box office hit, because of that. Whether or not what I consider the hybrid redesign of Sonic that they're working on is going to help out in the long run or not, I don't know. Because I think whether or not they would have decided to do it or not, it would have still made money. They know it would have still been a hit. The fact of the matter is, expect sequels to come after this. Expect maybe another movie or so to come after this. And if not, expect perhaps other studios that have had maybe a history of working on Sonic to step in and say, hey, let's do our own interpretation of Sonic. Let's do a movie that features, Amy Rose and Tails and Knuckles and Shadow and Rouge. Let's do that. Let's 2D or CGI animate it. Or you're going to have people coming in saying, hey, that's great, but let's do our movie on Sonic that features Sonic and the Freedom Fighters. The characters people want to see. The fact of the matter is, no matter how you look at it, this movie is going to open the floodgates to many more Sonic shows and movies in the future. And some of these are going to have characters that we've been wanting to see back in circulation for a while, and some characters we already know is in circulation. I mean, don't be surprised if the IDW comic, whether or not it stays afloat because of its behind-the-scenes situation, don't be surprised if characters like Whisper and Tangle end up in a movie, an animated movie or series. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. The point I'm getting at is no matter how you feel about this film, no matter how you look at it, no matter how you feel it's going to succeed, whether you want to admit it or not. Some people are saying it's not going to do good, but I hate to say it, that's going to blow up in their face when they find out that it did. You got to realize that this movie has opened the door for sequels to occur, as well as spin-off or independently done, or spin-offs, or basically their own individual different alternative Sonic movies and stuff and shows to happen. So that's all I'm going to say on this, guys. But let me know what you all think down below. Comment if you like. Let me know what you all think, and I will talk to you all later.